Alright Jenkins, yeah, nice to see you, been a while. I like what you've done with the place. Yeah, nothing. Mind you, that's good, it means you haven't been causing any trouble. Hello, welcome to Tweed's Garage, and we're back. Yes, been a while. Well, it hasn't been a while, it's just that I was very efficient getting videos out, and then I've sort of gone back into my sort of lackadaisical way of putting videos out. But yeah, I've been busy in my excuse. Sort of work, yeah, that gets in the way, annoyingly, but you know, needs must, devil drives and all that. And then also, been a sort of couple of weekends being away, so that takes up some time. Yeah, so what have I been doing? Well, not much on the Scott. The gearbox is still, or gearbox casing is still mounted on the mill over there. Nothing has changed since the last video. So need to put that chemical sealant on, seal that up. But then I think, yeah, can start reassembling the gearbox, which will be good. Get all these bits back off the bench. So yeah, no progress, but we're heading in the right direction. But also, fork tubes have turned up for the Scott from Stoyan. I haven't unwrapped them because they're highly polished, and he's covered them in ACF 50 to protect them, and I need a moment to get round to unwrapping them, degreasing them, spraying the outsides, and then getting ready to assemble them so they've got oil inside them to stop them going rusty. So until I'm ready to do that, they're going to stay in their tubes down in the house, where they'll keep nice and rust free, hopefully, but not too long. Don't want them sitting there too long. So yeah, got to paint them, yeah, and then just sort of reassemble them with all the new seals that he's supplied as well. So that job will be getting done. We have discovered, yeah, on the clutch plates, not that one, that's a Norton one, on the clutch plates on the Scott, yeah, they're quite thick. They're quite rusty. Well, I've cleaned them and they've rusted again. So they must be a high carbon steel, because they rust at the drop of a hat. But they're all pitted, so I was, you know, going to attempt to clean them up. But when you put the stack together, yeah, they're all right there. But you get them in certain places, and they're sort of like there. Yeah, I can see you through there. Yeah, they're quite warped. So I need to try and find some new ones, which is doubtful. Or I thought maybe find a company that do water jet cutting and get a new set cut out. Yeah, any water jet companies out there want to have a go, get in touch. Yeah, so there's that to do, gearbox back together. Oh, and I put an order into the Scott Owners Club months ago. Finally they got in touch, order's been put together, order's been paid for, so hopefully you get that in the next few days. And that's sort of like the cush drive rubbers for the rear wheel, gear change springs, and a few other little bits and bobs. Not a lot, but just enough to put it all back together. So yeah, so that's been going on. There is another little project in the background that we've been doing as well. Well, not doing, but collecting. But yeah, not talking about that at the moment. That's another thing to do. And then what have I done? Well, I drove all the way up to North Yorkshire. Yes, I like North Yorkshire, like the North, you know, the moors and all that. Very nice. Went up to there, went sort of to a pub, booked accommodation, drove 250 miles, 4 hours, 45 minutes. And Chris, hi Chris, if you're watching, the landlord of the Bay Horse Inn, where I'd booked my room, was surprised to see me. Wasn't expecting me, and I said, I'm sure you are, because I've booked and it's on there on my phone. And I looked at it and I said it's the, whatever the date was, the 19th, and he said, yeah, that's next week. Yeah, so yeah, I availed him of a pint of mild, sat around for a couple of hours, had a very nice steak pie, chips and a crumble, and then got in a Jag and drove all the way back home again. Yeah, over 9 hours driving, but it was fun. Here we go, gonna have a ramble now. It was like the good old days. Remember when you were sort of 19, 20 and you passed your tests and you're driving around for no reason on a Saturday evening or a Friday evening, for no reason at all, just going nowhere, just for the sheer joy of driving. Yes, children, we used to drive, we used to enjoy it, it used to be fun. Yeah, sort of brought back memories of driving up the M3, up to London, herring round the embankment, up round Piccadilly Circus, and then all the way back round again, back out of London, and then avoiding Fleet Services, because at the time that was the only place that said it was open 24 hours for food. But yeah, it wasn't really, but you could get something to eat there after midnight. But we used to drive to Aldershot because the army were there, and yeah, there was a place called Tony's Fish and Chip Shop, or Tony's Fish and Chip Bar there in the town centre, and he was open to about 4 in the morning, which was great because you didn't have kebab vans then. They weren't around, they didn't exist. So yeah, you drove to Tony's Fish and Chip Shop Bar, yeah, got some chips and a pie and all that, watched the squaddies have a fight and the girlfriends shout and throw chips at them, always very entertaining, and then go home. Great time. So it brought back memories of that. It was a really nice night, driving back, stereo on, windows open, golden earring, radar love, what's not to like. Yeah, so that was that weekend. Yeah, and then because I'd driven so much, Sunday was a bit of a, Saturday was a bit of a wipeout. You know, I'm getting to the age I need a little lie down after a long drive. So that was that. So following weekend, following Friday, drove back up to Yorkshire. Very nice. Well, it wasn't so nice. It had cooled down a bit and it was a bit rainy, but I was really lucky. Managed to miss everything. And yeah, so I went up there again. Saw Chris, said nice to see you again, and booked me in to my room that I'd booked. And then I sort of popped along to a village called Masham, pronounced Masham. No, spelt Masham, pronounced Masham, home of Black Sheep Brewery. Yeah, I sort of drove along there in the evening and happened to pop into a pub, met a nice couple, had a nice meal, and yeah, went back to my digs. So then the next day I went along, as it was raining, went and stood in the field and had a wander around, and then this happened.
Oh, wait! Wow! What are you doing here? Well, I live here. No, I don't. No, you're in America. What are you doing? What about there?
Yeah, wouldn't you believe it? Drive 250 miles, bump into an American. And for those of you that don't know, this is the lovely Stuart from Stuart's Shenanigans. Yeah, I'll put a little link down to his YouTube page down below so you can go and visit him and support him. Yeah, there was a steam rally on. So this is a bit of the steam rally. I managed to sort of run round, and it's only when I look back on the footage that I realised how horrible it was. Not the steam fair, just the weather. But I had a brolly up, didn't really notice, and Stuart was there, so we met up, had a chat, and then went our separate ways, and then met up again, and because it wasn't a huge steam fair, so it was easy to get around. So for you, I videoed traction engines, cars, bikes. Oh, and yeah, Mrs. Tweed's retirement plan. Yeah, stationary engines. Oh, she's looking forward to retiring, buying a stationary engine, and sitting in a field, in front of it or behind it, looking grumpy. Yeah, that's what she's looking to do. So yeah, so there's stationary engines as well. But so I'll split it into groups for you, and we'll head round the rally field. So what should we start off with? The motorbikes.
Alright, yeah, some stitches, another stitches.
Yeah, well, I have to get mine, won't I?
I need a real ball knee. Another real ball knee as well.
So there you go, nice selection, and yeah, the Rudges were nice, and the Indian was lovely and sort of not so well known over on these shores, so it was nice to see. But yeah, strangely, we're going to look at the cars now. There was a lot of Model T Fords up there, yeah, more than you sort of see down this way. So yeah, let's go and have a little walk round the cars and sort of commercial vehicles. Quick walk round those.
Members of the public now to start making their way out of the arena. We're going through the entrance out so we can get the full stuff driving team to their second show. The conclusion, or is it? Of our house. So next in the regulations we have our classic motorbike, one of our commercial special. Right. We'll be underway shortly, which means soon. Gather around, folks. Don't miss this. It's
It was 2 years, remember? Nobody took it out. We had to leave, so we left Terry here anyway. When it turned to the yeah, when the turned to the mountains and some Oh, what's that one? Oh, is that a peaky one?
Yeah, so it's sort of an interesting, yeah, selection there. Yeah, but for me, I think it was the star of the show. It's funny, all the traction engines there, I love them all, but just when you go to these shows, there's just one thing that just sort of pops out and you just think it's sort of quite remarkable. And it was this Vauxhall Chavan. Yeah, I mean, God, when was the last time you saw one of them? And this one was done up, and I remember these, they were done up in sort of the GM Bedford spares vans. You know, the Vauxhall Bedford dealers had them as their run-around vans for running spares around, all with the logos and that down the side. Yeah, they used to be all over the place. Never see them. And this thing was absolutely mint. I mean, it just the detail was stunning. you know, it can't have survived. It must have been redone, but just the paint job, you know, the wheels with the hubcaps on, the interior was immaculate with that sort of red and black sort of vinylette material type interior that they had. Yeah, I mean, my dad had a Cavalier with sort of black and white houndstooth interior on. Yeah, they had that sort of interior at the time. Yeah, absolutely immaculate. And just you know, when was the last time you saw one? So yeah, that was fantastic. Anyway, enough of cars. Now we go on to the stationary engines. We'll have a little look at those. Well, we'll have a sort of segue between what you think might be a motorcycle, but it isn't.
Oh, what are we doing? Well, I think that's the right job. Yeah. Isn't it?
And this was my favourite stationary engine because when the governor kicked in and the inlet valve opened just before it fired, it sounded like a 4-year-old sniffing up his drawers. It was great. And those are the little ones. And then we had the guys, yeah, really committed to stationary engines. They got them in lorries. Yeah, the big ones. And yeah, they're really nice to see, run lovely, and yeah, just watch the lorries bouncing around with these things jigging around inside them. And now onto the piece de resistance, the traction engines. So I'll have a little run round first, and then what we'll have is I'll let the engines talk for themselves, won't put music over it, so you can hear which ones gears are spot on, got nice gear sets on, and which ones have had a very hard life. Yeah, so this is the traction engines all leaving the parade ground. So I sat there, or stood there for your entertainment in the rain and videoed them all coming out. Yeah, apologies for the bloke in the blue cagoule, there's always one.
Well, just go a little bit more, yeah, which is pretty much like second reverse.
That's more deep than the sharp.
No, well, he's gone 7, you see. You've got to go foot to knee.
Hey up!
bids at 7 grand. 1973 Massey Ferguson number 135.
And there you go, that was the steam fair. That was Masham Steam Fair, really enjoyable. But what made it more enjoyable was not only did we meet Stuart, and yeah, Stuart was, and his lovely wife Jane, with a couple that I met the previous night at the pub, where they sort of supplied us with a meal, which was very nice. And yeah, Jane's a bit of a feeder, so yeah, I rolled out of there about 10:30. Yeah, a very full man. Yeah, and struggled with my cooked breakfast that Chris supplied the next morning. But yeah, so we saw Stuart and Jane, but also bumped into Paul from Haxby's Shed, that some of you will know. I'll put his little link down below as well, so you can find him. And it was just nice. Yeah, that's why we didn't notice the rain, because I was chatting to Paul and his son, and I was talking to Stuart, and we were just sort of standing there, all gas bagging, you know, about the same thing, and YouTube and engineering, and it just made the day sort of fly by. So the weather really didn't come into it until I went to leave, driving back, literally having to sort of stop and drive up the middle of the road. About 5 roads I had to stop and drive up the middle of the road because they'd flooded right across. But we didn't really notice it rained that much, so we must have sort of missed the worst of it. But I know some of the north of England, yeah, really did get it. So yeah, so that was that. Masham Steam Rally. Hope you enjoyed it. Now, that's not all. We've got something else. Yeah. Now, you can have too many projects. Now, that's not all. Got another little bit for you. Yeah, you can have too many projects. And yeah, so I went and bought another motorbike. I didn't want to buy it. I told him I didn't want to buy it. I made it clear that I had nowhere to put it. But I ended up buying it. But I'm not going to show it to you on this video. Well, I'm going to show you a little bit. So there's a couple of little jobs got to do on it to just sort it out. But it's all together. I had it running. I have ridden it up and down the access road out the back, so I know it all works. But it's been a couple of months since it came into my ownership. But as I said to them, I didn't have anywhere to put it, and it was staying elsewhere. And I've now moved it to Tweed Towers, where I'm just sort of going through it. So there's a few little jobs to do. It's got a fuel leak off the fuel tap, so I need to look at that. And I just want to check the battery. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think there's another little job as well. But I'll show you those, and then I'll see you in a minute. So, got a couple of little jobs to do. First one is we've got a leaking fuel tap. It's been leaking a long time. We've got lacquer all around here. It was all over the magneto and all around the primary chain case. But I've cleaned that off with some tough wipes. That came off all right. So yeah, the first job to do is sort of try and sort this out. I thought I had some seals in my collections of stuff, but I think these are the wrong corks. But I do have a lot of corks as well, so we can probably make one up to do the job. This one is called an E-Knots fuel tap, and it has a hexagon button, knob on it, whatever you like to call it. And the reason it's got a hexagon on it is so you remember when you push it on, hexagon. So see, so hexagon, hexagon, like that. But yeah, she hasn't got any fuel in, I don't think. So good opportunity to drop the fuel tap and put a new cork in it. So, being a British bike, I've got a huge selection of spanners to get this all undone. Go, let's move that out, mate. Just like that. Drop it in the dirt, find it later. And there we go. No, it looks like it's is it cork or rubber? I think they're cork. Yeah, cork. I think we can make a new one of those. That's not a problem. It's probably just dried out actually. And then the other job I need to do, not just yet, is got got to tighten my horn. My horn is a little bit wobbly, so we need to sort that out. It's got a pile of washers behind it at the moment, but I think we'll turn a spacer up on the lathe, because why not? Yeah, right, let's have a look at this tap. So yeah, this is the cork gasket. Looks like rubber because it's got these rings embossed on it, but that's just where it's been done up against the back of the fuel tank fitting, and we can see immediately why it's leaking. There's a crack in the cork just there, see, runs all the way across. So we'll hook that out. Yeah, it is cork. Yeah, I think it's done its time. Try and get a bit of it out so I can get some rough dimensions. I thought I had some of these. I probably have somewhere, but God knows where. I will have a little dig around. Might be some in the Villiers spares, because normally, like these ones, they're so cheap. When I buy, you know, one or two that I need, I'll buy a handful of them, so you've got them next time. But unfortunately not for this. So yeah, just took that out. Somebody's rung somebody's doorbell. There we go. Very simple, see? It's just a plate with a hole in it, cork gasket over the top, and then when you knock it off, it's just blank below the seal. Simple as that. You know, if it works, why not? But then of course occasionally you have to change the cork gasketto. Let's have a looky here. Not far off, a bit thick, but yeah, we'll either do something with that, or we have wine corks. You have to go through them a bit. Quality's not great, but you only need a bit without some holes in. That might be a good bit, and we could spin one up on the lathe. Should we give that a go? Why not? So, making cork gaskets on the lathe. Select a cork that hasn't got too many holes in. As I said, I've used some of the better ones, but this is just for a demonstration to show you can make them if you need to. Yeah, so that's one of them had a big hole in one. Yeah, I think that end might be better. Pop that halfway in the lathe. Make sure we got enough clearance to get our fingers round later to trim them off, and then do it up. Yeah, not too tight that you pop the cork, but put as much tension on as you dare, and make these as quick as you can, because what happens with the weight of the jaws and this being soft and squidgy, the jaws with centrifugal force do sort of waggle themselves loose after a while. I mean, you soon know because the cork will stop running off centre. So yeah, just stop and start again. Yeah, so I've got a drill in here. Need to drill a hole in the centre for the fuel to go through. I'm using 3.8 millimeters, which I found suits that petrol tap. And yeah, we'll get ready to turn it up. So we use a drill to drill the hole. We use finger sander to take it down to dimension, hence the dust everywhere, because I've made a few already for the fuel tap, and just to sort of see whether it would work on video. And then for cutting them, I use one of these break off knife blades, just a full length one, and yeah, mind your fingers, that's why you need some stick out. But then you use this to cut them off gently. Works well, but you know, safety first, mind your fingers and all that. Right, I'm just going to fire the noise machine up. Okay, we're running, what we're running, 745. Any faster than that, and the like I said, the jaws rattle loose really quick. So yeah, you have to keep it down a bit. But I found with cork, working with cork and rubber, yeah, the faster speed you can do, because it tries to bounce back against tooling or sandpaper or whatever. Yeah, the faster you can attack it, and, you know, creep up on it without it knowing, the easier it is to work. Right, so we drill our hole, run it right through the cork so we can run a few off. And then come in with a finger sander. Yeah, you just form the shape by eye, and then you roughly know your dimensions, your outer dimensions you want to turn it down to. I think I'm about 13.8 to fit in that fuel tap snugly, so we're 14.76. So unfortunately we can't use the digital readout, so we just have to do it stopping and starting. .8. No, seriously, it is, look. It was that side. 13.84 with a bit of a squeeze. There we go. So that's that, and then need to cut them off. It's a bit hit and miss how these bite in, so you just have to do a selection and then pick the ones you want when you've done. So as long as you know your sort of rough thickness, just try and head for that. You could mark it on there to help you out a bit, but yeah, let's cut some off. Let's face it off. Simple as that, and then you have a selection to choose from. Not that one, because that was just a facing off one. But yeah, we've got 3 different thicknesses we can play with there, so it gives us a selection, and then you can sort of quality check them and find that hopefully they haven't got sort of break all the way through. And simple as that. Make your own cork seals. And another little job I've done, the side stand was cable tied up because it was missing a spring, but I had a little look in my box of springs and found one with a little bit of modification that fits the side stand, so that'll make life a lot easier, because she's a heavy girl to get on the stand. So there you go, another pony added to the stable. Yeah, they're very crammed stable. They're starting to sort of complain a bit now. Yeah, so that will come up in another video. So once I've got it all fettled and running, we'll get it on the road and take it out, and I'll show it to you. And yeah, maybe we'll go for a little ride on it. Yeah, we've got to do that, haven't we? Got to get out of this bloody workshop. We're always in here. Got to get outside. Like your mum said, get outside. All right? So I'm going outside. See you next time. Oh, if you like the video, give us a little like. And if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell and all that. You help me out, and you get to see more stuff. What's not to like? See you later. Right, I'm going to graze my knees outside. All right, Jenkins. Yeah, I've been away. Yeah, I like the way you've... You moan that I don't make a video, and then when I make a video, you're sitting there twiddling about outside the door.
Being as quiet as I can be.